What is going on, you guys? This is your man King Man coming back alive with y'all right here on the King Man YouTube channel, y'all. We are continuing here with the How to Properly Network podcast. If you guys haven't heard this podcast yet, please make sure you go ahead and click on the link below for the Formal Pickles webpage. You guys can listen to the full podcast if you would like on that webpage. Otherwise, you can also get the podcast anywhere you guys get your favorite podcast. But anyways, we're going to continue listening here for part 4 of How to Properly Network. Continuing to listen to this great podcast. I hope you all enjoy, and please let me know by smashing that like button today. And of course, if you have not yet already, make sure you smash that subscribe button as well. I greatly appreciate it. It helps me out, helps the channel out. But anyways, let's get back into this podcast, and we will catch you all after the podcast.
It's not about being famous, or you know what I'm saying, like
right.
Well,
another big point too is people a lot of times they look at it and they say, look at this, look at how fast they've grown, look at you can almost classify it as overnight success.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: to get to the point where it looks like they've achieved overnight success, they have had to put in hours, months, years worth of work and thought. Right?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people misinterpret that big time. You know, looking at you, like if people actually take the time to stop and to listen to your other podcasts, your videos, your live streams, and how many times you repeat yourself over and over of this is not something that you did just in this last year. It's been years, multiple names, rebrandings, different video styles, different, and that's just for YouTube. And same goes for me. I mean, again, smaller scale, but I started streaming back in 2017. I didn't start actually building the quote-unquote King Man community until last, I think, September.
Right.
And, you know, it's in the amount of hours that I've spent since 2017, the amount of hours that you have spent over the last, I think you said 8-9 years, correct? And I think that was your last podcast.
Yes, sir.
The amount of hours that build, that grow, sleepless nights, working your full-time job, same with me, going and working those 40, 50 hours at work, coming home, putting in those extra 20, 30, 40, for you, more hours throughout the week, throughout the weekend. I mean, even for me, this last spring when we were building SJRP, I was working a steady 40 to 50 and sometimes more hours a week at my normal job in construction, and then coming home, still putting on, I think at that time I was still at about 5 days a week of streaming upwards of, you know, close to 2 hours. And then on top of that, after streaming, going and sitting and working on SJRP, working on the files, working on the server, doing that stuff until 2-3 o'clock in the morning, staying up all night,
right,
not sleeping at all, and just working on that, and then going to work the next day and still having to pipe and do whatever else that I was doing for physical labor. And for you, you know, same, you know, it's like you going to work, you put in your time, your hours, and then how many times have you and I talked about that, where it was, you know, you're working 90 hours a week?
Yeah, there was a while there I was working on average, you know, if you cut it at the low end, 75 hours a week, but I would say it was more 80 to 85.
You know, and it's difference makers, you know, it's that amount of time that you put in. And I feel like some people, they just don't see that either. They think, well, they just blew up overnight. They just grew this in a month. Why can't I do that? Well, it's not a matter of can you or can you not, you know. Again, it's find the why.
Will you
repetitively will you?
Right.
And still, when you're tired, like tired and kind of getting that feeling of a little bit burnt out because it's a lot.
Absolutely.
But relying on that why to drive you through it, to continue to do it, to and to do what other people aren't. I mean, that's another thing that I learned too from you know, a lot of people misunderstand me as far as, you know, Twitch and stuff too. I spent a lot of time, like my I wouldn't say mentor, but one person that I learned a lot of things from was Alpha Gaming. But there was many other people on that list too. But, you know, sitting, watching those videos for fun, to see what it is that I could learn to do different, to try and take a different approach the next day, the next stream, to be better, right? To continue to grow. What can I do to put myself, to do that little bit extra that is different from everybody else? Like, you know, watching your watching your edits of your videos of the same recording that I did, seeing how can I try to match that? It ain't gonna be that because you went to school for this. you did this for your job. I don't. But how in one small thing, you know, each time that I go to edit or whatever, what can I do just a little bit better that somebody else isn't doing to make my video that much more, a little bit more enjoyable, therefore wanting people to stick around to get to know who I am, to therefore want to stick around to see the kind of content, right?
Right. And that's the beautiful thing too. Like earlier when I said it will evolve, you will evolve, your content will evolve, and with that, you will continuously improve. And it's that desire to continuously improve that will keep you, one, relevant, and two, growing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like a big thing. Here, I have a perfect example. You say we watched a lot of Alpha Gaming. I bet you still watch stuff like that. Even to this day, even though you can consider yourself, I would say, relatively successful. I mean, you pull more viewers on Twitch than I had ever pulled myself. Right. So
how did you know? Yeah. How did you know? Because yes, I do.
I still watch videos. Because I still learn. I still listen to people that are also in this industry. And I have a degree in this. I literally have a formal education and have for the last 8 years done this as an occupation. And I still, just the other day, Saturday, it was yesterday, I was listening to a video from the editor of Alpha Gaming, Sam.
Yep.
And I was listening to this video, 50 tips for new YouTubers or YouTubers just starting out, brand new YouTubers, never had a channel. I watched the video. I was listening to it while editing a thumbnail. And he gets to this point where he talks about the importance of a thumbnail. And I already had this down in my mind. I was like, this thumbnail isn't all that good. And he's talking about how it's so important, and the thumbnail's like the most important thing. It's what gets people to click. And I go, gosh dang it. And I open up my game and I retake the thumbnail and I take the time to actually do it right and do it better.
Yeah. Because it's crazy how it carries so much like truth with that. It's like you just said, you've been doing this for 8 some years. And you look at somebody like Sam, who I want to say is pretty much same as your boat, just older, right? I mean,
yeah.
Like for him, and you even look at Alpha Gaming, where he's had, same as you, multiple different channels, multiple different approaches. You'll hear him kind of say the same thing all the time too. Like, I got these things because I thought I was going to be something else. I was trying to do something else. But once he figured out his why, once he figured out his niche, then that's when it grew and exploited. But he's always continuously learning. And that's somebody who he's racking in how many thousands of people watching his streams? And same as Sam. And it's crazy because not only them, you know, those are just 2 examples, aside from you making 3.
It's literally every creator, every single creator. I say that with an asterisk because maybe there are some creators that they post something and it just, just luck of the draw. It likes the algorithm. It's super shareable. It was brilliant content, and it explodes. But you'll notice a lot of times those creators, those that had sudden rapid growth without the work behind it, they're at a disadvantage. They might have more. They might have more views than you have. They might have more subscribers than you have, but you have the advantage because you have put in more time.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, those creators that suddenly just gain a following, maybe they post once a month, maybe they, just post on occasion, maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of times, their shelf life is not very long.
Yeah. And you'll see it. I mean, they'll die off, and maybe it won't be right away. Maybe they do carry that out for a while, but I've seen it many times, just like you said, where it's it's just an explosion on the first couple of videos because it was just this hot new little trend, and in less than a year died out and you never hear of them again. And it's like years later where all of a sudden you're like having a conversation with your buddy and something strikes you in your head and you just quote that, and then all of a sudden you go back to watch their videos, but you look on their YouTube channel and you haven't seen anything since, like, I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree with that.
So that's an interesting concept there. The fact that even if your numbers don't reflect similar to, say, another creator, which you use to compare yourself to, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are at a disadvantage or they are at a more of an advantage or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Because you can always continue to grow off of that. You can always, as long as you're willing to, again, like we're reiterating now, however many times, to find your why. Some of these people that did have that explosion never understood their why and still don't.
Right.
But if you're willing to literally sit back and take the harsh truths and be able to push yourself to understand, what did I do wrong yesterday? What could I do better? How could I improve? How can I make this video better the next time I go to do something like that? How can I make the next stream a little bit better and more enjoyable? You have to really be able to self-reflect, really be able to look into the mirror, or if you don't have a mirror, be able to look into your camera and stare at yourself in OBS to really analyze, figure out that why, and then put in that work, because that work, that drive, all these things that we've been talking about is what's going to help you to carry through, to keep that continuously going. And even if it doesn't grow to be something huge, at least grow something that you're happy and proud of, and then continue that growth. You know what I'm saying?
Right. As
opposed to, well, this person just exploded, I just want that. So I want to be well known for 5 videos, or whatever the case may be.
Right. And it's an interesting note here is, and I'm very happy to be able to say this. First, I need to preface, I hate talking about myself because I always feel like people see it as more self-centered than what I intend. Like as you know, King, I hate those with an ego. It's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Oh, I'd say that's, at least as far as I've gotten to know you, it's about one of your number one.
It is probably my number one. Humility is so important to me. But I'm happy to say that I've been told by people.
All right, y'all, that's going to do it for us here on part 4 of how to properly network. Again, I hope you all enjoyed this time-lapse style of a farm sim video going along with how to properly network podcast that the former Pickle and myself did together. Y'all, again, if you have not yet, please make sure you smash that like button for me, and of course make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. I greatly appreciate it. But y'all, we will catch you back on the next one. Peace.